Okay, back to 166. Today we're going to talk about some compare instructions. I have already incorporated the first one. As you can see here, I'm in run mode. Controller's okay. I/O is okay. I have put the compare instruction in there, the CMP. Here's where you develop your own expression. The double integer in this particular case, 0, is an entire word of 0. If we got to go back to this a little bit, every once in a while you seem to lose track of that. Double integer 0 incorporates not 1 bit but 32 bits, 0 to 31. So when I'm looking at double integer 0, I'm looking at a value, it's got a value of 1 in there now. If I change that value to 10, you will see that that output will turn on at that point. I'll come back over here to compare, and now that output is on. So essentially what we're looking at is just the expression. We don't have to say double integer 0 equals 10 equals what. No, it's just the expression. So when that expression goes true, you see the output come in here. So going back to the tags again, I'll make that double integer equal to say a 0 again, and then I come back over to here to the compare, and there it is back off again. So that is the operation of the compare instruction. I think I mentioned it before. The compare instruction is kind of one of those instructions that yes, I can use an equal, I can use a less than, greater than, I can do all those different things in this compare function. We also have that instruction help menu here. So remember, we've always got that to fall back on. So it gives you all these different options, how to set it up, configurations, all these things. So if you choose to use the compare instruction, that's fine. I have no issues with that. That's just as good as the equal and all these others. It's actually a little more challenging, so it's not a bad practice. So there's that piece of it. Next piece of this I'm going to incorporate is I'm going to grab the next piece in line here. So let's go ahead and create another rung of logic. And we're going to do, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete this. I'm going to do this the fast way. Copy rung, paste rung. Switch this from a compare to the next one down, the limit. We talked about the limit in class. The limit, if you remember right, undo that. Good thing for the undo. I'm going to come in here, do a test. I'm going to just put a double integer in here to say double integer is 1. How about that? You know what? I just go to here, double integer 1. Why not just do that? Now the low limit, if I make that low limit say, let's see here, 0, and I make that high limit, let's just go 5, 0 to 5. Grab the next bit here, 10, go to 11, bam. Okay, let's go ahead and download this piece here. Okay, now as we can see, the double integer value of 0 is equal to 0 at this moment. And because it is equal to 0, the output is on. When I put a value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you can see that output stays on throughout that whole process. If I put a value of 6 in there, though, the output's going to turn off. If I put a value of a negative 1 in there, that value will turn off. It's only between the values of 0 and 5 does that output turn on. Okay, that's the limit. That's the, if we remember right, that's the inside the range there. When we're talking about inside the range, let's see here, what do I got to work with here? Let's go here. So when we're talking inside the range, I don't know that I can do, maybe I can't do that. Hold on here. Okay, so now we're back in business. I want to show inside the range. If you guys remember, I did some fancy stuff here before. I kind of showed a circle, right, to give you kind of an idea that this thing is operating in a circle. If I'm looking at, if I put this as 0, and I put, say, 5 here. What I'm looking at is any value between 0 and 5, okay? My writing is terrible here. Zero and 5, okay? I don't know what the hell happened there. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Anyways, I'm looking at any number between 0 and 5. So any number between here and here, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, obviously. Okay, that output will stay on. Now we go back to the PLC and we're going to do the opposite direction. We're going to look outside that range. I'm going to put the 5 here and the 0 here. Call this binary 12. Download that. Now it is here where we're looking at the output outside of that range, okay? So when the value is anywhere outside this range, that output's going to be on. So right now you can see it is set to a 0. This guy is going to be on. I set that to a 1. It's going to turn off. Okay? I set it to a 2. It's going to be off. I set it to a 3. It's going to be off. And I set it to a 4, it's going to be off. It is not until I set it to a 5 that it will turn back on again. So what this one is saying is that any range, by putting the high number first and the low number second, any range outside of these two numbers will be on. Any range between them, between 0 or 5 and 0, will be off. Okay? So keep that in mind. That's going to be a challenge for us because we do run into troubles with this. So a 0 is on, a 5 is on. When I put a -1 here, you will see this guy turn off. And when I put a 6 here, I'll go back to a 5 and turn it back on again, and then I'll put a 6 here, and you will see it turn off again. So as you can see, the two operate pretty much opposite of each other, if you think of it that way. So if I go between, if I drop this into a 4, you will see this guy come on and that turn off. So just keep that in mind. That's how that works. Okay, moving on to the next instruction. Okay, so now we're looking at the equal. I'm going to skip the mask equal, MEQ, nothing I've ever used. So it just uses a mask function. And we've talked about the AND statement, uses the same principle as the AND statement. If you have questions about that, you can always go to the help menu and that will show you all the experiences you have there. I switched to binary to fool around with some stuff, and I'm going to have to switch that back now. So let's go back to edit tags. And go into here. This is probably something that's good to know. So we go into here, go to properties. And we want to switch that back to decimal. That allows me to have the unit in decimals here in the program. So that's just good. Okay, so now I'm looking at the equal. It's just as you'd think it would be. This is equal to this, and then the output is going to turn on. So we're going to go ahead and download that real quick. As you can see here, if it's equal, the output turns on. If I make this to a 1, it's going to turn off. If I switch it back to a 0, it's going to turn on. I can enter a value of a hex or binary, just like we did before. What is that? 16 £. I'll put an A in there just for fun. Double integer 3, except that guy here, yes, here. So now I'm comparing this to, is hex 10 the same as decimal 10? Yes, it is. Look at that. Bam, where you go. Also, I can switch this to a regular decimal. I can switch this guy right to a decimal. I say I want to make sure this is equal to 10. It's a little weird. Why would you want to do two numeric values? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. So maybe I'll undo that piece so we won't do that. I can also switch this from A to a decimal value of 10. It'll accept that as well, as you can see here. Or I can switch it to binary as well. So I can come in here, say I want 2 $1010, which is the same as 10, and then we accept that and see what happens here. As you can see, it is on. This is the same for all the compare statements. You can use binary, hexadecimal, or a integer. I can use integer, double integer. I can use all of accumulated values. Let's go offline again. That's going to try paste. Let's see here. Let's grab the next one. Not equal, as you can expect, it does the same thing. If this value is not equal to this value, then we have the output is not going to, or if it's not equal, the output will be on. Excuse me. So let's download this. So as you can see now, the 10 is not equal to 0, but if I make that equal to 10, then bam, it is off. So I can convert this to, say I want a double integer, say I want timer 0.acc, for instance. I can put that in there as well. So that lets me to use a accumulated value of a timer. I put a value of 10 in there. It won't let me do that because why? It's probably being used in another piece of my program. So if I make this equal to a 0 here, when we enter a value, like a numeric value, into a component like the source A instead of a register value, we call that hard coding that value in there. What that means is that you can't just change that number using either entering a value, or you have to, like, if you tie it into a touch screen or something like that, it would allow us to change it. But as you can see here, if it's equal to 0, it doesn't take place, and then I can't change this value. So we'll move on to the next one real quick here. Compare functions. Here we are. Oh, I was just doing paste. That'll work too. Equal. The next one is not equal. Less than. Less than, just like you'd think it would be. A, notice how they put it right here. A is less than B. So they even give you a hint right here. A is less than B. So if this value is, let's just go 10 here. And I'm going to grab, how about a local output data? I can grab that too. Grab the whole word of data. So if this value is less than 10, let's go ahead and delete that wrong. And we'll download that. Again, I want you guys to believe that data table in the PLC is utilized and accessible by everything. So it's just information that you got at your fingertips. You got to get an understanding of, you can grab the stuff. So I'm looking at that whole output data table and comparing that. So if I put a value of 1010 in there, it's going to be equal to 10. Well, it's not going to let me do it because why? There's some bit that I've got used someplace that's not letting me do that. So I have a value of 8 in there. So if I come back in here, change that to an 8, it's going to let me do that very thing. So now 8 is not equal to 8. It's not less. A is not less than B. That's 8. So now let's go back into here. If I make that a 7, at that very moment, it will be, and we will be in action here. Output turns on. Very easy. Okay. All right, do some online editing here. So I'm going to come in here, equal, not equal, less than, greater than. We'll do the same thing. We'll come in here. I'll put a, how about a counter accumulation value of 7, or a preset value of 7? How about that? And how about a value of 5 here? Okay, I already got a 14 and a 15. Let's accept that. So now, as you can see, is A greater than B? No, because it's equal to 0. So if I make that equal to 5, again, it's not going to be on. If I just make that equal to 6, though, it will turn on at that point. So A is now greater than B. Now to the next command here.